Whoever decided to hire Master Shake as the voice of Ocean Master is a genius. Readers, I debated whether or not I was going to wait until all 3 episodes were available before deciding if I should make a video on it or not. But I was so impressed after watching Chapter 1 Dead Sea of Aquaman King of Atlantis on HBO Max that I couldn't help but to head to my computer to write this script out immediately. Now I know what you're thinking. But Laurent, how can you say that about this animated special? It's done by the same people who made Thundercats Roar. Yes, it is done by the same people who did Thundercats Roar. And just like Thundercats Roar, it has very fluid animation, is naturally funny, and the voice cast is absolutely stellar while giving everyone very distinct yet faithful personalities. It also continues the DCEU tradition of casting Pacific Islanders as Arthur Curry by having his voice for this trilogy of specials be Cooper Andrews, one of my many real-life celebrity spouses. Oh, and he does a good job of voicing Aquaman as well, I guess. So if you can look past the fact that it's animated in the same style as Thundercats Roar, which, to be honest, isn't that bad of an animation style in the broader spectrum of things, you might actually be pleasantly surprised with what it has to deliver. Because while I personally believe that this is a more than decent Aquaman story in its own right, it also has within it a very important lesson. One that both its target demographic and even the ones it isn't aimed at could afford to learn. Now, before I continue, I feel obligated to let you know that the remainder of this video will in fact contain spoilers for Aquaman King of Atlantis Chapter 1 Dead Sea. So if you want to avoid spoilers, I'd advise you to watch the special before continuing on with this video. Cool? Cool. Aquaman King of Atlantis is one of those property adaptations that's the literal meaning of just because it's not made for you doesn't mean you are incapable of enjoying it. I say that because I know that there is a significant amount of individuals that, despite the characters it features, will absolutely turn their nose at it because it wasn't made with them in mind, thanks to 2 things: the tone shift and the animation. Those of you who are either fans of or have an appreciation for Teen Titans Go, Netflix and DreamWorks' Voltron and She-Ra, and even, once again, Thundercats Roar, the show with the same animation style as this 3-part series, know exactly what I'm talking about when I say that. That doesn't mean that The Dead Sea is any less of an Aquaman story because of how loony it is, or it's not in an animation style that's preferred to those who are older, because it totally is. Arthur, accompanied by Mera, going to an Atlantean port that hasn't been heard from in 7 years, only to find out that it's been buried by a drill miner who found a way of isolating a portion of the ocean from the rest of itself in order to properly excavate, sounds pretty right on the money for an Aquaman story. What also helps with it is the fact that this is one of Arthur's first elected tasks to perform after being crowned King of Atlantis a day after defeating his half-brother Orm the Ocean Master, allowing those who only have the DCEU movie to fall back on an easy access point without, having to know that much prior. However, what makes that such an important detail in the situation is that Arthur has an urge to prove to the citizens of Atlantis that he can be a good king. After all, according to the short, he's already a better king by default because he's not Orm, but he doesn't feel like he's yet to gain the respect of the people at the same time. And it's in that decision to find and help the lost Atlantean outpost we get a reason for his call to adventure, while soon after providing us our first glance at one of the story's dynamics that plays a huge part in how it goes overall. Mera's want for confrontation, and Arthur's want of conference. I actually really do appreciate that the special decided early on to establish these two aspects about Arthur and Mira in their characters, because it really fits what the characters represent and also considering what the special is aiming at overall. Aquaman wants to be diplomatic about things, not being so quick to resort to violence if he can't help it. It's something that Mira over the course of the special is shown to be something she doesn't really have the patience for. Mira, speaking of which, looks at the adventure as a way of letting off some steam, and is quick to fight first, ask questions later. Which, as you can imagine, doesn't really put Arthur at ease.
And that is how you play baseball.
It isn't.
Especially when they're forced to give in to Mira's bloodlust. Waterlust. Plasma lust? When they first encounter the thieves at the Oasis. So when they actually meet the real villain of the special, Arthur's want to just parlay is even higher and takes over Mira's need to just be everyone's meme depiction of Batman right quick. So much so that enough time and benefit of the doubt passes to form blind trust, and the two of them become two more victims of his drilling venture with the rest of the citizens of the Atlantean outpost. Already we have a brilliant setup regarding conflict resolution by the time the third act starts. Arthur, initially offset by Mira's brashness, has his own preferred matter of resolving conflict exploited to where it gets the two of them imprisoned. Meanwhile, the way Mira immediately decided to handle the thieves in the Oasis, and nearly the villain of the story they encounter immediately after, would have been disastrous for Arthur and his want for Atlanteans to respect him if he found out that who they decided to beat up were actually civilians of the outpost instead of the robbers of the outpost. Who, by the way, come back to said outpost to rob them some more. But it's also in that moment we see the second aspect of Dead Sea that's just as important as the differences between he and Mira's way of handling conflict. And that's Arthur using what he has while also learning from past experiences in order to form unity and collaboration. And he wouldn't have done that if he didn't learn the hard way that compromise in the form of the right amount of communication and the right amount of brashness is what's needed in order for proper progress to be made between the civilians and the thieves, restore the ocean and the post, and take down the bad guy. The moment I realized that this was what the setup the special was working up to, that it was able to take the concepts of compromise and togetherness in the form of a narrative that's like this, I couldn't help but realize just how brilliant the final package ended up being, and how it's done in a way for kids to easily digest and apply. Because, once again, that's the demographic this animated special, along with the future two, are aimed toward. And if we of the young adults to adult variety can get past that, we can appreciate it as well. I certainly did. Aquaman King of Atlantis, Dead Sea is a great special that teaches kids when you should utilize words and when you should utilize action, and how to discern when is the right time to use either or. And it's thanks to that discernment, it also gives them the opportunity to learn how people can work together despite differences in situations in order to accomplish a like-minded goal. Not only do the themes and messages the special deliver fit the dynamic of a newly crowned Arthur Curry has to learn in order to properly learn how to be king of the seven seas, but the story centered around how Arthur and the young audience it's aimed for is definitely worthy of being considered an Aquaman story. So if this is the level of storytelling and easily digestible life lessons I'm going to experience in parts 2 and 3, then I can't wait to see him. But I digress, readers. Your homework assignment for the day. Write in the comment section below what you thought of Chapter 1 of Aquaman King of Atlantis if you've seen it. Or if you feel like sharing with the rest of the class, a film or TV show you remember watching that taught you the importance of compromise between combativeness and cordiality. Whichever question you decide to answer, I'd love to know your thoughts. If you want to help financially support the channel, you can join my Patreon by clicking the card at the end of the video or in the link in the description down below, where you can also find a link to my merchandise store. Or if you prefer to give a one-time donation, you can find links to my PayPal and my Ko-fi account in the description box as well. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications, because I post new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and every other Friday. But until then, this is Readus 101. Class dismissed.